The face-off circle will be something to watch. Jake Naso among the very best in the country for Duke. Will Lynch has been up and down, but he's coming off his best game of the season, best game of his career against Syracuse.
And if you look at their history, they are almost even in terms of when they go head-to-head. So the career stats, the season stats, throw them out the window.
And Naso comes away with the opening face-off. Great crowd here at Arlotta Stadium. 1 versus 2. Notre Dame.
The last couple of years, he's playing incredible. When you get those complementary players to play with Ledman, to play with Balsamo like Mitchell, this unit starts getting deep at the right time.
First face-off violation of the half against Notre Dame. And there's
Jack Gray, who's been phenomenal this season, still needs the support.
Another face-off violation on Notre Dame. That's 2. 1 more, and Duke will have a 30-second man up for every successive year's locker before the season. Pat Kavanaugh told us they talked about it a lot before the season, in the fall. It was a motivator. Once the season started, Kevin Corrigan, Notre Dame's head coach, reminded his team, hey, the new journey starts now.
Flush it.
You got to flush it and move on to this season. Every team, every group has a singular journey. This is now our journey, and they've taken that approach. Listen, both of these teams right now have the look that they could be the last team standing.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to flush it for a minute here, because last year, outside of Maryland, with that run was historical. Undefeated Terps, incredible. One of the all-time great teams. Outside of Maryland, nobody wanted to play Notre Dame or Duke. Nobody, right? You could have argued those are the 2 teams.
Years ago, and now Jake Taylor.
Those guys could actually quarterback from the inside, right? They push
Explain what you mean by that.
Because if you're a really good crease guy, you're communicating all the time about the spacing. You're telling other guys where to go. Hey, I need you left, I need you right. Okay, if another guy's inside, he's pushing a guy maybe so the crease is split. There's a lot of IQ in that spot. Quickly, once he gets free.
Top 10 recruit coming out of high school, Will Lynch wins the face-off for Notre Dame. First face-off won by the Irish. Lynch below 50% on the season, but coming off his best game, 23 out of 33 in Notre Dame's 20-12 win against Syracuse. Off X for Duke. Will Lynch 1 for 5 for Notre Dame. Colin Hagstrom took the other Irish face-off. And that's going to be a loose ball push. And it's against Notre Dame, possession to Duke.
What a crowd.
Well, as another terrific D-Midi the last few years.
That's where Notre Dame is juiced this year. The middle of the field, they're so deep. You have Quinn McCann and Brian Tevlin and Ben Ramsey.
Big ground ball out of the scrum. It's Stevenson. He lost it. Stevenson gets it back. Dumps it ahead to Will Frizzoli. Now let's see if Duke pushes.
Was defensively coming at Simmons, and the eyes, all the helmets and eyes were up top. Kavanaugh recognized that.
We asked Kevin Corrigan, where has Chris Kavanaugh taken the greatest step this season? And Corrigan's response, where hasn't he? He has improved his game in every area. We see it now, more left.
Game. If you're a Kavanaugh and you don't ride, don't come home.
If you're a Kavanaugh and you don't ride, you were adopted.
I can do this, I can't do this. Yes, you can. It's watching the Thompsons, it's watching the Powells. That's the inspiration. Those guys are backyard driven, and Jake Taylor's hands and awareness. It was almost like house money too, right? He picks it up, 2-1 on the shot clock, go behind the back and give it to Pat.
Almost instinctual, and you talk to Pat and Chris Kavanaugh, they all tell you, they grew up watching the Thompsons, Lyle and Miles, the theatrics, the flair. And there was a lot of substance behind that style, which is true for the two Kavanaugh brothers at Notre Dame right now as we get a whistle. 3 against Virginia, 5 against North Carolina. Averages 3+ per game in this 2023 campaign. Naso stumbling, a lot of bodies flying, loose ball picked up by the Irish. 27 in white, Ross Bergmaster, one of the dual bagpipers now for Notre Dame.
Yeah, transition too. You know, Jake Naso is fantastic at the dot. He's going to give you these opportunities.
And there was a penalty on Wilson Stevenson, so it's a 3v2 face-off. And it's Jose Boyer from your hometown of Yorktown. His brother Keith plays for Duke. Big weekend for the Boyer family. Notre Dame will call a timeout.
At dodging off of poor approaches, and that's his spot. He can take some quarterbacking away from Pat, but Pat is the guy to run the offense. But Chris on that right wing, he's got a lot of different aspects to his game, and one is stretch shooting that he's gotten a lot better at too because of his strength.
Here comes Stevenson. O'Neal matched up with Fake. Gets free from Fake. Dumps it off to McAdory on the alley. Less than 3 minutes to go, opening half. Duke had a 3-2 lead after 1 quarter.
2:35 coming at you.
5 points for Pat Kavanaugh in the first half. 2 goals, 3 assists. Final seconds, half number 1. Taylor behind the back, too high. Oh, that would have been something. Instead, Notre Dame.
O'Neal is a next-level athlete, right? And I think that he's playing, as Naso loses his helmet there, I think he's playing into Fake's strength. Fake wants to have that bruising type of matchup. Brendan O'Neal has really good speed. I'd like to see O'Neal use goalie, too. William Helm has no shot at that. No shot.
Lynch wins the face-off. Notre Dame now 2 for 2 in the second half.
Dodge from there, right? It's not a designated up top dodge. It's not a designated wing or behind. It's that in-between area that I think Duke can have success. I thought it would be with McAdory. This time it was with Ledman.
They are going to get a push with possession on Will Lynch, and Duke has the extra man.
Duke at 42%. They have the skill, they have the shooters. Dyson Williams inside obviously is a player, 51 in blue, that the Irish defense will be on red alert. And it's the
listen,
but I get it, man.
You have to make a decision.
You have to. That's why I say you have to put those guys on the same spot, put them in a conflict zone where the defense has to say, I'm more worried about this guy, and then the other counters.
Naso dumps it to McAdory. Could not corral it cleanly. Bergmaster all over him. McAdory now trying to escape the ambush.
Goal in the second quarter. He did it with his vision and his passing. This time, pure gas and speed.
Notre Dame double pulled the wings of the face-off. Naso fighting for it. And out of the cloud of wrath, it's Donovan, who is then bumped out of bounds. It will belong to Duke. He lost the ball.
The Irish want to push there.
They do.
What an effort by 81, though, the freshman, right? You saw the ground ball ability in traffic.
He was matched through the Be the Match program, and when he told Andy Shea, I remember Yale's coach Andy Shea telling us, what are you going to say to somebody who is that selfless? Yeah, you got to miss 2 games because you're saving somebody.
Defensive coordinator, it is a well-oiled machine.
I thought it was interesting, Kevin Corrigan telling us he got his defensive strategy from Terry Holland, the old basketball coach at Virginia, and this idea of it doesn't have to be complicated. keep it simple.
And he cuts and catches and shoots all in one.
Naso wins the face-off, tripped. Gets it over to McGuire. McGuire all the way, bounce shot, score! And a little juice, a little energy on the Duke sideline. Blue Devils within 3.
You have Naso as Duke Nation, and the parent section's going wild. So you're going to be in the game. You're going to get chances. You're going to get looks. What a play by Naso as he falls. McGuire and Jack Gray, the 2 upgrades I said from their defensive midfield from a year ago, both played offensive midi in high school. So they're comfortable in transition.
McGuire, a freshman, with his 2nd career goal. The other came against North Carolina.
We got a game.
And in that North Carolina game, how vital was Naso winning face-offs and creating early offense like we just saw?
Yeah, Naso is such a tough kid because he doesn't even have like a guy who spells him.
He's taken more than 1,000 face-offs in his career. McGuire had it momentarily, still loose. Frizzoli scoops it up. Looking to play to McAdory. Big ground ball, out of bounds. It belongs to Duke. 3 unanswered for the Blue Devils. Got 4:10 to go in the 3rd and an entire quarter to play, and you can feel the pendulum swinging.
Or you lose your balance as a shooter, you're done. Pat Kavanaugh wasn't.
I think the Death Star had a smaller opening than what Kavanaugh snuck that through. Flag in the air. It's a delayed penalty against Notre Dame. Final minute, 3rd quarter.
Be a push on the Irish.
Duke is trailed by as many as 6. Got to within 3 at 12-9 before the Kavanaugh goal.
I'd like to see Brennan O'Neill have some more pick of a season since 2008. They have the horses. They have the star power. They also have Naso who could win draws.
There's the wings for Notre Dame. Donovan Hagstrom took that face-off for the Irish.
There's the wings again, though, right? Like, you win the initial draw, but Kevin Corrigan's teams always find ways to negate that and win the possession.
That's why when you look at the face-off numbers today, 19-7 in favor of Duke.
It doesn't feel that way. It doesn't.
No.
I want a stat before it's all said and done, and they send me away. Two-handed attackman. Unless you're a Canadian, you need 2 hands.
There comes Hagstrom. Sandwiched. Pat Kavanaugh to his brother Chris. 15-9 Notre Dame for Pat Kavanaugh. 3 goals, 5 assists today. For Chris Kavanaugh, 4 goals today. Double-double, toil and trouble.
You see him dodging up the left wing goal line extended area for a shot, and this time flips to the other side and finishes in tight. The game is complete. You know the name, you know the number. The number 50, since Matt Kavanaugh stepped on campus, became something. And the youngest brother, there's 6 of them in the Kavanaugh family, as tough as nails, and making older brother Matt proud.
Pat Kavanaugh now in his last 3 games against Duke has 13 assists.
Take it back to Riley Gray, who has time and he has room to make that move.
Face-off violation, procedure call on Duke. I go back to what Pat Kavanaugh told us a few days ago. In his now 4th year at Notre Dame, he's never seen this type of buy-in. He's never seen this sort of commitment.
To Pat Kavanaugh, what he said was telling also. The message has been clear. You're guaranteed 12 games this year. That's it. Based on the way that the committee did things last year, 12 games. That's all you're guaranteed.
Naso, save Entenmann. You and I have an hour-and-a-half drive to Chicago after the game to catch a flight.
Is it really only an hour and a half? We're going that
Buck
fast?
45. We can negotiate on the way. 17-9 Notre Dame.
Negotiating with a guy from Jersey is.
I remember hearing the story with the Powells. They would take, a bag of flour
shoots all in one motion. A lot of times you're not even locating the goal. Like a lot of times I see his goals. I'm like, how does he know where that's going? He's not even looking at the cage.
He, Jake Taylor, there are others. The ball is hardly in the stick. If you add it up, the total amount of
midfield that I think has taken a big step in 2023 from last year. This midfield's much better this year. Not only the offense, but the two-way guys and the shorties.
And Danez is one to watch, starting to come along. And that's back-to-back multi-goal games. We'll get a loose ball hold against Duke. Clark, to your point, though, back to the Tewaaraton,